This is the before. Him in the mirror, presumably before a show, and 2023. And then go to 2024. What's up, guys? Derek, moreplates.com. Today we are looking at one of the most wildly viral physique deteriorations that has been posted recently, that is getting a lot of traction, a lot of people are talking about, but it's not for the reasons many think. So this is Arthur Ponce, also known as Ponce Physique. I could be butchering that, apologies if so. He is a men's physique NPC athlete, 2-time overall champion, presumably 5 times top 1. So I'm assuming winning his class in men's physique. And then of those, 2 of those, he won the overall or something, but could be wrong. Anyways, relatively accomplished in the NPC and presumably gunning for his pro card. The guy looks pretty awesome. And this is the physique of somebody who is taking this quite seriously and gunning for a pro card, presumably. Now, most recently, he has gotten a lot of attention for this absolutely wildly viral video that has almost 1 million likes, let alone views, of him essentially losing his entire physique in a year. So this is the before. Him in the mirror, presumably before a show, and 2023. And then go to 2024. You can imagine the comment section is expectedly, steroids versus not. This is what happens when you take steroids. You just like absolutely fall apart after you stop them. A lot of people shitting on him in the comments. A lot of people making videos talking about how, that's what happens. I guess that's not entirely wrong, but it is quite misleading given the context, and I felt like it was worth elucidating just what actually happened here, because it is not just coming off of steroids. This is the caption. We all have a new beginning. At the beginning of this year, I had to take a forced break from pursuing my dream. But it wasn't my plan. It was God's plan. I underwent surgery to correct 4 hernias in my belly button. Thank God everything went well, and soon I'll be free to compete again and do what I love most. Today I'm here to announce that Ponce, sorry if I'm saying it wrong, will be back as soon as possible fighting and chasing his dream. I'm assuming this is the Google Translate that made it speak in the third person, because I'm assuming he wouldn't be talking about himself like that. But anyways, to announce that Ponce will be back as soon as possible fighting and chasing his dream. Today without any sponsorship or partner. But most importantly, with God. I'm going to start over until I get to where God promised me I would get to. I'm not here wanting you all to feel sorry or pity for me. I just want to show that we all go through ups and downs, and today I'm in this low phase. But I know where my rightful place is, which God promised me. I hope to be able to motivate people with my new journey, and I promise to share as much information as I can here with you. There's no point in trying to rush things, since God has our entire story written in the book of life, everything in God's time. Anyone here who still believes that this dream can become reality, leave a comment here on the video to strengthen it. Right underneath that, top comment, almost 14,000 likes. This is the power of injection emoji times 4. On versus off steroids. What's happening, bro? Is this because he had hernia surgery and had to quit the drugs and roids? It's achievable without steroids. He just chose the easiest route. Shrug face or shrug emoji. The cycle doesn't last forever. Crying a lot. Congratulations for showing both sides of the coin. I admire you for that. First one to comment in English, flex emoji. But what happened though, LOL? Nothing by Raffit. Yeah, gone. The effect of them steroids is simple. What comes quickly goes quickly. This makes me want to take steroids, LOL. So the guy never said he came off steroids, to be clear. There are reasons you may come off for surgery, absolutely. However, in general, this is the result of him going in for 4 hernias being corrected. And essentially detraining himself entirely and probably completely falling off his diet. And, you could say, oh, well, you probably pulled back your hormones quite a bit too. The reality is there's a lot of guys that will stay on TRT when they go do their surgeries. Like, it would be pretty counterintuitive for a lot of guys who otherwise don't have significant clotting risks or anything that may otherwise seem blatantly problematic to be going into a totally catabolic environment, going into surgery simply to what exactly? Like, sure, you're not gonna be on your full stack that you're on for your show, of course, which presumably was what this was the best he has looked, I would assume, to show the greatest disparity in this picture. He's probably pumped up here, perfect lighting, pre-contest, maybe carved up, I don't know, but he's like at his best here. And then he's showing his absolute worst in a completely detrained state, post-surgery, probably about to get back into the swing of things. And it's cool that he's able to show this. A lot of people would not come on camera and be this forthcoming about the ups and downs of this lifestyle or bodybuilding in general, enhanced bodybuilding especially. And guys who have their image so tied up in, being big and jacked, very infrequently will they come out and actually show you them essentially, deteriorated from what you otherwise perceived as them at their best, which is what a lot of people probably follow him for. So I commend him for that, absolutely. But this is not, again, as said, showing all that goes into the lifestyle. This includes surgical intervention for certain things like hernias, very common in bodybuilders. Now, another example worth mentioning is IFBB Pro James English. This is actually a very recent example with a very comparable situation. James is an IFBB Pro in classic physique, and not that long ago, he won his pro card. And when he won his pro card, as you would expect, the guy looked absolutely nuts. Not that he doesn't look nuts now, but here he is here looking diced to the goddamn socks. Here he is posing in the gym with the perfect downlighting, immaculate vascularity and fullness. Here he is pre-show, full as a house, traps up to his goddamn ears. Doesn't get any better than this, bro. Ended up winning, getting his pro card. I actually did a video on a stack if you want to check it out. We talked about everything that went into it. It was pretty awesome. Pretty fucking proud of the guy. It was awesome to see it come to fruition. But anyways, besides the point, he ends up getting hernia surgery not long after, because having a hernia as a bodybuilder fucking sucks. So you gotta get that fixed if it's problematic. So here he is getting penis enlargement surgery. Just kidding, it's a sports hernia. Some of the comments are fucking comical in this one. Pick or no proof. Bro actually was getting calf enlargement surgery. Congrats on the Franken penis. So gets surgery for the hernia. Now, as you would expect, just to be clear, this guy is not off of hormones. It's not like he's blasting his socks off, but he is not on a prep diet, nor is he training rigorously when he is in the hospital getting a hernia surgery. And then he has to recover for a certain amount of time. And as you would expect, you have some deterioration, or at least you would think so, or I guess most people would just claim steroids on versus off, which is not the case. So here he is showing his, detrained physique, essentially, after surgery. 4-month transformation, post-surgery muscle memory. So does this look the same as the pre-contest physique I showed? Of course not. However, you would be quite misled to think that there was not some hormone assistance in this man's blood at this time as well. It is not uncommon for guys to be losing tissue, regardless if they're on versus off, based on the actual stimulus imposed and the actual environment to recover properly via the nutrition. All of these things play a factor. You can't just inject steroids and become a behemoth, nor could you maintain behemoth status. It will absolutely offset muscle loss, but to a certain degree, ultimately you still need to eat the food and train the muscles. So I would think it's pretty easy to say nobody with reasonable eyesight would not say this looks wildly different, despite the fact that he's still enhanced. And then after that surgery and this deterioration completely melting essentially, as you would expect, the guy blows back up and gains the size back in short order. Here he is looking full as a house, quad sweep on point. Guy's gonna explode out of his goddamn young LA tank. Fucking money, buddy. So guy's an absolute unit, truck stick and a half. The guy's dosages are actually very reasonable, even when he won his pro card. If you want to see the stack, it wasn't that insane. So to go from that down to TRT, there's not a grand disparity that is going to account for, if you were actually training, there was no scenario in which going down to the TRT would have resulted in this. And now here he is again, actually getting gyno surgery. So I will maybe do another video on the gyno stuff, because I'm one of the individuals who highly encouraged it actually, which is context dependent, by the way. Do not just assume you need gyno surgery just because you're a bodybuilder who uses hormones. It's very case dependent. But anyways, he got gyno surgery literally a couple days ago. And as you would expect, he's gonna probably deteriorate a little bit until he can start training properly again. People see these dose response studies and they'll see individuals gaining muscle despite the fact that they're not training from the introduction of steroids. And they will extrapolate that out into thinking that you can look like this and it's almost all steroids. Now, to be clear, would this guy look like this without steroids? No. But the training and nutrition is absolutely critical to make the steroids work the way they do to this extent. You don't get to like competitive bodybuilder status or something that looks like a guy juiced out of his mind on just like sitting on your fucking ass and taking gear. It does not work like that. So I think in some of this discussion about how well steroids work, it's absolutely worth highlighting this point, because now I see a lot of people with the transparency around hormones and how effective they are and such, they extrapolate out something like this and then assume you can be lazy, you can just take steroids and that's why you look like this. Like, no, bro, like take a bunch of tren and sit on your ass, and I promise you, and don't eat properly, have, you know, half your body weight in protein and grams of protein. I promise you, your physique will get a bit better for sure, but you will not get results that you think are like trend-like. It simply does not work like that. So that's it. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully it helped elucidate something that may have been understandably confusing to someone who is seeing some of this, you know, media around hormones or otherwise may have preconceived notions about it or whatever. There's not a lot of education around this stuff or understanding at a high level about what goes into it, how it impacts your body. I felt it was worth highlighting because a lot of people are taking away accomplishments or, I don't know, trying to diminish hard work in enhanced guys by chalking it all up to steroids very often, when the reality is you're not going to be a high level competitor if you're not training your ass off and dieting your ass off at the end of the day. You know, some genetics will take you very far too, and they will help, but at the end of the day, like, you're still going to have to not eat the food when it becomes time to suffer and lose the body fat. You're still going to need to pile down the food when it comes time to grow. You're still going to need to actually get off your ass and go to the gym and lift weights, even when you don't feel like it and you need, you know, you're not super motivated, whatever, you just fucking do it. Like, this is something that is repeated ad nauseum by bodybuilders because they are so committed to the process and have such rigorous work ethic, and that's what makes them successful. And then the gear just allows them to take it to that next level. It's not icing on the cake. It's a big fucking chunk of the cake, but ultimately the nutrition and the training is the underpinnings of what allow it to actually do something that is, you know, enhanced looking. So take from that what you will. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like, subscribe, check out my blog, moreplacemordates.com. Follow me on Instagram at moreplacemordates, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I don't know where I am at this point. If you want to support me, you can check out everything I'm associated with in the video description below. Gorilla Mind pre-workouts, probably our flagship product. Nootropics, also one of our flagships, actually what we started our company on. Energy drinks, nootropic infused, one of the best energy drinks on the market, if not the best, in my super biased opinion. But you can check out my deep dive video into them if you actually want to see why they're, I think they're so incredible. Merrick Health, worth talking about quickly on this video too, actually. Blood testing, highly relevant for enhanced bodybuilding. If you don't have a high level medical provider who is non-judgmental in your camp overseeing you while you go about this lifestyle, you are fucking up at the end of the day. You need somebody who understands this stuff inside out and will not judge you simultaneously for it and will help attenuate the damage. Because at the end of the day, enhanced bodybuilding is something that will be dangerous. You cannot mitigate the damage entirely, but you can attenuate it to a significant extent and otherwise identify if you are somebody who probably should not be doing it to begin with extraordinary risk factors that you may otherwise have no idea about. Like, you don't want to end up a 20-something or a 30-something-year-old case study of a bodybuilder who died young and an example of steroid abuse or something that gets highlighted in the media in like a negative light. Like, this is stuff often that is highly avoidable. Keeping your blood pressure in check, keeping your lipids in check, keeping your inflammatory state in check, keeping your oxidative stress levels down as much as possible. It's all highly relevant and will fuck you up if you don't get on top of it. Or, you know, unless you have super resilient genes, then maybe you'll be fine. But typically you don't want to bank on that. oftentimes these will decrease your life in some capacity, unfortunately. And it's just a matter of being totally aware of that and understanding the risks thoroughly before you get into it. And then if you do it, doing it as safely as possible. It's not safe, but doing it as safely as possible. And even if you're natural, I would highly recommend getting a baseline blood panel. At the end of the day, cardiovascular disease is gonna kill even more people watching this video than cancer. And it is entirely avoidable for most people via early, proactive oversight and assessment of labs in particular. Are you somebody who is highly susceptible to atherosclerosis? You may be, you may not be. What is your current diet doing to your blood work right now? You know, there are things that could be easily pointed out should you get one baseline panel done. And even if everything's clean, fantastic, because it's something that you can keep in your pocket for if something goes awry. And then you can look backwards and actually see retroactively, you know, what went awry and why, and actually identify shortcomings and or areas of deficiency that need addressing to avoid how to fix something or avoid something entirely. Check it out, merrickhealth.com, link in the description below. You can get 10% off of my recommended blood test panel, or at least the one that I get myself personally every time I get my labs done. Links in the description below. Intelligent Shop, hair loss prevention, men's fragrance, and skincare. So anything else down there helps support me, Young LA Clothing. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.